Hello, my friends. Today I have part 2 of my Kringle Candle Mother's Day BOGO sale haul. Boy, that's a mouthful. Last weekend, I uploaded part 1. I told you guys that there was a second order on the way. And if you happen to have read some of my responses in the comment section on that video, there will also be a part 3 to this. Can anybody else say praise the Lord that that sale is over? My bank account is like, please go ahead and end this. But it was a fantastic sale. They had large jars, medium jars, buy one, get one free, almost all of their fragrances, including their new spring and summer launches. So it was really a fantastic sale, combined with the fact that they had some of their Easter candles were seriously marked down. In fact, you're going to see in here that there's an Easter candle that I picked up for $8.50. I did also want to save some money on shipping, so I did purchase another reserve candle. You guys might be a little bit surprised by the candle that I purchased. It is a repurchase for me. And then I did also purchase a 4-wick candle. Now, of course, this week, this candle that I purchased is now offered at 30% off. So we will talk about that in this video. And then at the very end of this video, I will make it very clear when I am sharing those candles. But I am going to talk about the PR that Kringle sent to me. They did send me their new summer flight candles, which will be launching on Thursday this week. Their new bottle rocket and cherry pie candles I've actually had now in my possession for maybe 5 or 6 days now. I've burned them quite a few times, so I can go ahead and give you some initial post-burn thoughts in this video, but don't fear, you guys, I will still make sure to get my dedicated post-burn videos up for you guys prior to that launch. So you're going to want to strap in, grab a drink, grab a snack. I will make sure that I list all of the candles that I talk about today down in the description box with timestamps. I do have an affiliate discount code with Kringle. It is Katie15. It'll save you 15% on full priced items. Doesn't apply to sale items, but if you're okay with using affiliate codes, mine is there for you to use. So let's go ahead and get into this haul because I've got, let's see here, I've got a total of 9 candles to talk about with you guys. And so I think I'm going to go ahead and start out with the Big Mama Jamma. I'm going to share with you guys the 4-wick that I decided to purchase. Now, like I just said, at the time that I am filming this video, they have this candle listed for 30% off, which, you know, it's a little bit better savings, but this is a fragrance that is on, sorry, you guys, I hit my mic, that is on my top spring and summer fragrances. I've loved this candle. This is actually one of the first fragrances that I fell in love with from Kringle Candle, and it is the fragrance Rosemary Lemon. So the reason why I didn't have it earlier this spring is because I was hoping that they would come out with it in a 4-wick. I'm going to very gingerly take the lid off here. These are pretty hefty lids. So these 4-wicks are 32 ounces. They typically retail for $45. However, right now they're 30% off. So I think that that's around $31. Again, the day that I'm filming this, they are 30% off. I would anticipate that that sale runs through this weekend, but we will see. Oh man, I love this fragrance. I've loved it for a long time. Fragrance notes of herbs, lemon, jasmine, lime, orchid, peach, tea, wood, and it says lang lang, I think, on here. Here's the thing with this candle, you guys. This is a very fresh lemon scent. It's not gourmand lemon. It definitely might lean a little bit more like cleaner lemon to those of you guys, or maybe like a more astringent lemon, I would say. It doesn't remind me of a cleaner at all, but really what sets this fragrance apart is that rosemary note. I love it. It is perfectly balanced between rosemary and lemon. This fragrance, I've always said, if you are going to have guests over at your home and you want them to think that your house is sparkling clean, like you've spent all day cleaning it for them, maybe you haven't, but just trick them into thinking that, burn this candle. It just says clean, fresh home, without, again, it's smelling like your traditional laundry, or not even laundry, but like your all-purpose cleaner products that you would pick up at the grocery store. It's not that at all. It's more high-end. I love burning this candle after I have made food that has lingering cooking odors going on in the house. It's just perfect. And again, I've purchased it in a 4-wick now because the 2-wick for me, I found that the 2-wick has a strength and throw, maybe between a 5 and 6 for me. So I wanted something that I could burn out here in the open concept and really, you know, really just be what I wanted it to be. Because prior to that, I would buy 2 of these to burn, one out here in the living room, one in the in the bedroom to kind of try to get that whole house vibe. But now that it's in a 4-wick, I'm very happy to have it in my possession. And I did want to give you guys a little bit of an update on, it'll probably be in my next candle chat, but I did start burning the sea salt and tonka fragrance. You guys know that I showed you guys 4-wick of that candle. I didn't purchase it in my most recent haul. I've shown it to you guys in the past. And I did post in the KRINGLE Facebook group that I lit that candle up last night. That is another fragrance that I had a couple of summers ago. I loved it, but I only had it in a medium 2-wick, and also found it to be more of like a bedroom candle in that format because the strength and throw wasn't good enough for me. I did burn it the 4-wick last night out here in the open concept, solid 8 in terms of strength and throw. It was everything that I wanted it to be. So if you have been eyeing some of the 4-wicks, I do have 3 of them in my possession. I have the Rosemary Lemon now. I haven't lit it up yet, but sea salt and tonka definitely gives, I give you 2 thumbs up on that. I do also have Sea Breeze, which I can't imagine that one wouldn't perform well for me because the 2-wick and the 3-wick also performs well for me. So Sea Breeze is also on sale. I am definitely eyeballing Fresh Lilac, although you guys, my candle budget I feel like has been blown already for the month of May. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pick it up this sale. Hopefully now that we've seen the 4-wicks come on sale, especially as they're starting to put more of them out, maybe it means that there will be more 4-wick sales in the future. But anyways, Rosemary Lemon is the fragrance that I went ahead and purchased. And then let me share with you guys the $8.50 Easter candle that I purchased. I hinted that if this went on a deep enough discount that I would repurchase it, and it is the fragrance Easter Petals. So we have fragrance notes of sparkling lemon, petitgrain twigs, Italian bergamot, neroli blossom, patchouli musks, and amber. And I believe that this candle is now sold out. But I purchased this. This is heavy on the orange blossom and neroli, but you also get that very fresh lemon at the top on this fragrance. This reminds me of like, I mentioned that this is kind of like on a bright, sunny day, what you would want in the springtime. You get that neroli, you get the orange blossom. We have a lot of orange blossoms growing around where I live because in Arizona, there's a lot of citrus that's grown in, or it comes to harvest in the winter. So right now the blossoms are, well, they were about like a month ago. I would say the blossoms were everywhere, and I loved it when I was going on walks in the evenings. You would just have that smell wafting in the air. It was beautiful. So this is, again, neroli. You've got lemon in here. It's like a citrus floral. Really, really nice and well done. And like I said, for $8.50, they sent me the original in PR, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and repurchase this. And a little bit of a sneak peek for my third KRINGLE PR, or not PR, KRINGLE haul. I did end up purchasing 2 more of the bunnies and flowers in the 3-wicks because those were marked down to $6.50. And I really liked pairing bunnies and flowers with this Easter Petals. And so I figured, well, this is a large jar. Those 2 are smaller, so I can go ahead and pair them together. But I'll talk about bunnies and flowers when that haul comes in. The reserve candle that I went ahead and repurchased was a fragrance that was initially sent to me in PR. And you guys might be surprised to see that I repurchased this so quickly because it's one that I said that I liked it, and I do. But the more that I thought about it, I was like, you know what, that fragrance was so versatile. And it is the fragrance Lemon Splash. Now, I know a lot of people, like, this one's hit or miss with some people. Some people said it's a little bit too, quote unquote, cleaner lemon to them. To me, it's not. To me, this lemon, I think the reason I like it so much is that it's slightly nostalgic to me. I mentioned that my grandpa had a big lemon tree in his backyard when I was growing up. I remember the house in Van Nuys, California, and we used to go and just have little like backyard celebrations at their house. And I remember the fresh cut, the lemons that we would go up, we would freshly pick them, go in, cut them, put them in our water. And that is what this fragrance reminds me of. It's just a very, very fresh lemon scent. And so I figured, you guys know I like to burn complimentary fragrances. I thought that this Lemon Splash would possibly complement the Rosemary Lemon, maybe add an extra little element. I could burn this in the bedroom while the Rosemary Lemon is burning out here. Now, I will say this Lemon Splash, does perform very well for me, even just in the 2-wick. Out here in the open concept, it's a solid 8 in terms of strength and throw. Definitely fills up. I definitely notice it. It is also another fragrance, maybe if you're not crazy about rosemary, but you like lemon, this is also another great like air palette cleansing type of fragrance after you've been cooking. It's a really great fragrance. And so I thought, you know what, it's versatile enough. Let's go ahead and get another one to have in the old collection. Okay, now we're going to switch gears. So those are more like spring, summer type of fragrances. I personally use the BOGO sale to purchase some fall fragrances that I have either loved in the past, maybe they're repurchases, or I've had them in the daylight. In fact, I think though all of these are actually fragrances that are repurchases that I have had either in full-size format in the past, and I just decided that I wanted more of them. So the first one that I purchased is actually from Country Candle. I've had this in the past, I believe in a 2-wick. This is the fragrance Apple Pumpkin Pie. We have fragrance notes here of red apple, Anjou pear, mandarin, cinnamon bark, nutmeg, pumpkin puree, vanilla, baked pie crust, and allspice. Now, I will just tell you guys, this is Cody's favorite. He loves spicy gourmand type of fragrances. And this one is so well done. This is a fragrance that I do hope that once Country Candle goes away, that they do transfer this fragrance over to the KRINGLE lineup, because this is a wonderful fragrance. It's nostalgic and cozy. I get some apple, but I also get pumpkin in here as well. You get the spices of like a pumpkin pie spice in here, like nutmeg, little tiny bit of cinnamon in here. It's not super red hot cinnamon. It's not cinnamon forward, say like Frosted Spice. That's a very like bam in your face cinnamon. Same with like Kitchen Spice. Oh, I just love this fragrance so much. I smelled it and I was like, this is just as good as I remember. I actually like pairing this with the Kringle Candle Autumn Spice, because in here there's a hint. It says mandarin. And while I wouldn't smell this candle and be like, oh yeah, there's orange in it, the autumn spice pairs really nicely with this apple pumpkin pie. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I got a 2-wick of it. Where did I put the lid? Oh boy, did I throw it on the ground? Oh, there it is, right there. Duh, right in front of my face. So I did purchase another apple pumpkin pie. And then here's one that I was actually very surprised how much I enjoyed this candle a couple of years ago. And I think I had it 2 years ago in a 3-wick. And it's a fragrance that's a little bit kind of outside of my wheelhouse, typically in the fall and winter. And I found that I actually really, really enjoyed this scent. And it is the fragrance Cranmary. Now, the reason why I say it's outside of my wheelhouse is because Cranberry has never really been a fragrance that I've gravitated toward. I do like Yankee Candle's Cranberry Chutney. I do like that fragrance. But I think the reason why I was kind of like about Cranberry is that most of the time when I saw Cranberry, it was at Bath and Body Works. And I don't love the way that Bath and Body Works does Cranberry. Again, something comes off a little bit plasticky and artificial to me when I've had it there. But what opened my eyes to Cranberry was that I actually love Homeworks' what is it? Harvest Leaves, which has a cranberry note in there. This is not Harvest Leaves. This is definitely a different cranberry scent, but it is tart cranberry. We have fragrance notes on Cranmary of sparkling cranberry, juicy orange, bright raspberry, frosted juniper berry, sugared pine, sweet vanilla bean. Now this to me, it's a perfectly balanced tart but sweet cranberry. I think that's because I'm getting some of that raspberry in here as well. Maybe a little tiny hint of citrus to make it a little bit sweeter and a little bit more tanginess, I would say. But this is really nice. I actually found myself a couple of years ago really enjoying burning this in the month of November. I love this one. And I figure, you know what? I have a backup in my collection of the cypress and cinnamon, and I'm thinking that that fragrance mixed with this Cranmary is going to be beautiful. I still also have some Away in a Manger. I think that's going to be a great scent. But this one for me, I feel like November through January is a great wintertime scent. So I figured, you know what? I was looking for something to complement. Initially, when I placed this order, you guys, just peeling back the curtain, I purchased Rosemary Lemon, the Easter, the Reserve. I wanted the apple pumpkin pie, and I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and round it out with Cranmary. But what ended up happening was like the day after I placed my order, I was alerted to something. And I'm going to show you what I was alerted to here in just a moment. And I was like, oh, that's back in stock. I quickly emailed Kringle and was like, can you throw these 2 candles into my collection or into my haul? And they said, yes, you caught it just in time. We'll go ahead and throw it in that shipment. So the 2 candles that I threw in additionally, one is Leaf Peeper. Now we have fragrance notes here of crisp green apple, peach slices, dewy greens, clove, cinnamon, autumn acorns, lakeside woods, tonka bean, and musk. And here's the thing I'm going to say. I don't feel like I need to go into tremendous detail on this candle. This one's been around for 2 years now. If you happen to like Bath & Body Works leaves, this is going to be the one for you. Maybe if you want a soy wax, and maybe if you are just in love with Kringle right now, you're wanting a cleaner burning candle, this is the one to go for. This is Kringle Candle's take on BBW's leaves. Very, very similar. This to me, I feel like is a little bit more well balanced. I would say that like most people, like the casual fragrance fan, would probably walk into a home and smell this and think that it's leaves. But this one isn't as like, I would say leaves sometimes could, in the past for some people, has been almost headache inducing. It's so strong. This is still a strong candle, but it's a nice fragrance. It's just so good. So I wanted to have another one of these because my absolute, I'm just going to say this, probably one of my all-time favorite fragrances from Kringle. That is a fall fragrance. It flies under the radar. I have not heard a whole lot of people talk about it, especially when I was new to purchasing from Kringle. I did not hear people talk about this one, but you guys, this one and Leaf Peeper must be in my fall collection every year. I have to have these. These are my untouchables. And I was worried there for a moment that this was getting discontinued because I didn't see it when the BOGO started. I hadn't seen it for a while, and I was like, oh boy, they better not be discontinuing that fragrance. It is the fragrance Autumn Amber. Fragrance notes on Autumn Amber are apple blossom, floral, cedarwood, and pine. Now, again, I don't know how brands feel when I compare things, like when I compare a fragrance to other brands, but for a lot of people who might be new to Kringle, these are, unless you live in Massachusetts or one of the northeastern states within driving distance of Kringle, you're not going to get your nose on this. You're kind of relying on what those of us on YouTube or Instagram are saying about these candles. If you love Bath & Body Works Autumn, get this. It smells very, very similar. And when I was purchasing predominantly from Bath & Body Works, I always loved pairing Autumn with leaves. Well, I get the same thing except a cleaner burning formula from Autumn Amber. Now, I am just going to tell you, Mick, if you happen to be watching this, please bring this in a 4-wick. I need this in a 4-wick. I love this fragrance. Like I said, it is probably my favorite fragrance to burn in the fall, particularly the month of September. I think of this fragrance. Oh, it's so good. You get that apple in there, but it's kind of like a floral apple. Cedarwood, yeah, you get some of that. There's a little bit more earthiness to it. I was always somebody who loved BBW Autumn more than Leaves, but it over the years became kind of like an online exclusive. And then last year they didn't bring it back at all. So again, if you are hankering for that fragrance, if you've loved that fragrance and you want the Kringle, I wouldn't even say it's a dupe because I think it's, again, done a little bit better. Definitely check out Autumn Amber. So that is my haul. Those are the products that I purchased with my own money. They were not sent to me in PR. Now I'm going to talk to you guys about the 2 candles that were sent to me in PR. So these are part of the Summer Flight collection that will be available on Thursday. I believe it is March 22nd. Let me get my dates right. I believe it's the 22nd, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. These will be available. There are 2 fragrances. As of right now, they are only available in these large 2-wick tumblers. I have gotten some questions of like, are they ever going to get these in the 4 wicks or the 3 wicks or whatnot? I am not entirely sure. I do know that, the Winter Flight collection, that was launched back in, when was that? Late December, January. Some of those fragrances have now stuck around, like in the permanent lineup. So I don't know if these are limited edition. They are, one of these in particular looks very patriotic, but I feel like they could stick around, you know, if needed. Both of the fragrances are good enough that, and I think that they might sell well enough that they will. And then I did notice, you know, I said like there have been random releases in the past. I want to say like maybe like a year and a half ago, they released that cozy and warm and knit sweaters. Like I want to say that was January of 2024, and now I see those available in 4 wicks. So who knows? Because I do know that there's a lot of you guys who are really big fans of the 4 wicks for your living spaces. You have more open concept, but as of right now for this launch, these are going to be in the 2 wicks. I believe that these are going to be $31 because they're not like in a reserve packaging or any kind of special, you know, kind of painted jars. They're just like the regular tumblers. So let's go ahead and talk about the first candle, which is Bottle Rocket. So you can see I've burned it a little bit here. We have fragrance notes of cherry, fruit, citrus, orange, raspberry, and sugar. Now, this is supposed to be a popsicle, like the Bottle Rocket popsicles that a lot of us eat on the 4th of July. I've had plenty of those. To my nose, I'm going to tell you guys, this is cherry forward. Cherry, but I do get, I will say even upon burn, I do get some of those citrus, sweet, sugary citrus elements in this. This is a very sweet and sugary fragrance, as it should be. It's trying to emulate a popsicle. And I will even tell you that there's a note in here that's making this almost like icy. This is definitely like it's a syrupy, sugary type of fragrance. So if you like those really, really sweet fragrances, you're going to like this. The one thing I will say is that I feel like the cherry note in here, it's more like maybe like maraschino cherry. It's the, I actually detect this to be the same cherry note that I feel like was used in the cherry cola. This is not cherry cola at all, but I feel like the cherry notes that they're using, that they used in cherry cola, is the same cherry note that they're using here. But I think it fits a little bit better in this with the other fragrances that are like in this blend, because again, you've got some citrus in here. It's sugary. It's a very like sugary fragrance. So I do like it. I have burned this one a little bit less than the cherry pie, but it has been a good performer for me so far upon the first couple of burns. I did have it burning. I haven't burned it out here in the open concept yet, but I did burn it in the bedrooms, and in both of the bedrooms, it filled up the space. In fact, when I burned it in my daughter's room, it was throwing outside of the bedroom, coming out here into the living room. So it was burning well. Wicks are doing pretty good on it so far. So yeah, I'm definitely going to burn this one a little bit more. And like I said, I will make sure that I have dedicated post-burn reviews on both of these candles prior to the launch on Thursday. But so that is Bottle Rocket. And then the one that I think really has a lot of people jazzed. Oh, before I go into that, sorry, squirrel. I did see that some people were asking, hey, how does Bottle Rocket compare to Summer Cooler from the limited edition country lineup that was available last year? And I believe it's still available on the website. I never had Summer Cooler, so I can't give that comparison. I do know that the fragrance notes are a little bit different. My friend Fiona, Wax and Facts, over on Instagram, I believe that she did get this collection in PR, but she also, I believe, has had that Summer Cooler. So I would make sure that you ask her. She's in our Kringle Facebook group. In fact, I think she's one of the admins. So if you have those questions, I think she said that she will make sure to include a comparison in her review of the Bottle Rocket. So wanted to put that out there for you guys. Now let's go ahead and talk about the one that I think a lot of people are intrigued by. This is the fragrance Cherry Pie. Now we have fragrance notes here of cherry, pastry, fruit, citrus, buttery, vanilla. Now you guys know I made no secret that I was like, I'm not really a big fan of cherry. And I was like, not only am I getting PR from another brand that had a cherry pie fragrance, now I'm like, oh man, I've got more cherry pie coming at me. And I'm going to tell you guys, this one, I'm very, very happy with it. Now, I am going to make note of something on the burn with it. But as far as the fragrance of this candle, it's funny, when I got this in, I actually, Brett, Philly Candleman, and we messaged back and forth, and we said, Something about this reminds us of like a 90s Yankee candle, but we can't put our finger on it. This to me, this definitely has more of that pastry note in there. The cherry note is in here. It's a different cherry note than the one that is being used in the bottle rocket, which I really appreciate. The cherry note in here, now there's a note listed of fruit. I don't know. I feel like this cherry note is a little bit more deep. It's like those like dark red cherries that I possibly think like, is there a little bit of cranberry mixed in with this? This feels like it's blended with like another dark berry in here. Again, still very much cherry, but it's not that like, it's not the like artificial syrupy cherry note. This is definitely more like an authentic cherry fruit that I'm smelling. But the pastry note in here is really good. And again, there's something about this fragrance that's kind of nostalgic. Even the other day when I was burning this and Cody walked in, he was like, that reminds me of something. He's like, it smells like something from like my childhood, like which he and I were born in the early 80s. We're millennials. So our childhood was primarily late 80s, early to mid 90s. And we were saying there's something kind of nostalgic about this fragrance, but I do get the pastry note in here. I did do a review of the Hallmark's cherry pie, which they kindly sent to me in PR. And I did mention in that review, I don't like that cherry pie. And you can go back and reference that review if you didn't see it. But if I am going to make a recommendation for a cherry pie candle, it is going to be the Kringle one. Now, I will touch on this in my dedicated review, but I did want you guys to see, you might not be able to see it as much here. The wicks on this burn pretty hot. And one of the things that I did notice about this candle was that on the first burn, I let it burn for about 4 hours and there was some soot around the rim. I feel like this one has the potential. Now, I'm not going to say that it will, because what I learned from that first burn was I thought, okay, I'm going to extinguish this probably after 2.5 hours. Trim the wicks. You guys, I don't know if you can see it. I'll make sure I'll do the B-roll so that way you guys can see it up close. But these wicks are this long after only burning it for 2 hours this morning. So the wicks do tend to get a little bit of excess carbon at the end. I don't feel like they're burning dangerously hot, but they are burning a little bit hotter. And I feel like this candle, if you leave it unattended, has the potential to soot like the leprechaun treats from the St. Patrick's Day collection earlier this year. So that may be something that you might want to be aware of with this candle. Again, I extinguished it after 2 hours and it's not super sooty right now, but there is a tiny little bit. So for me, what I do with this candle is I will extinguish it after 2 hours, trim the wicks, and relight it. And that seems to solve the issue. If there is any soot at the end, I will just go ahead and rub that out prior to relighting. Seems to clean up pretty well. But I did want to let you guys know, strength and throw on this candle, though, is a solid 8 for me out here in the open concept. I definitely notice it. I would say that the throw is probably an 8. The strength of the candle is probably about a 7. It's not smacking me in the face, but it's actually honestly perfect where it's at because it's enough that people notice it. I was, again, burning it this morning. I went walking with a friend. She walked into the room this morning and said, "Ooh, it smells really good in here." So she noticed the fragrance. Oh, I really like this one. Spoiler alert, Kringle did give early access to their ambassadors. By the way, they do limit us. Like, it's not like we can order 10 of them. They limit us to 2 on a pre-order. And I did go ahead and add this into my pre-order when I placed that third BOGO sale. I did go ahead and repurchase Cherry Pie because, again, the fragrance is very nostalgic to me. And that's saying something for somebody who doesn't always love cherry pie. I feel like in a weird way, it sounds funny. Maybe it reminds me of like the toys or something we had in the 90s, but it's not plasticky smelling either. It's really good. And again, I feel like this one, they nailed the pastry note in here because I do get pastry crust in this candle. So very, very excited about it. Stay tuned. I will make sure to have dedicated post burns on both of those before the launch. So let me know in the comment box down below if you purchased any of these candles. Are you excited about some of these 4 wicks being on sale? I hope that sale is still going on when I upload this video. Are you excited about the summer flight? Are you interested in both the bottle rocket and the cherry pie, or does one capture your interest a little bit more? I would be curious to know. Again, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you found this video helpful. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new. If you missed part 1 of my Kringle haul, I will make sure to pop that up here at the end of this video so that way you can go back and catch up if you missed out on that one. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.